snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester. Inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. Missed the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to The Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews.
Ladies and gents, welcome back, I should say. Welcome back. 42nd episode. Dude, I say this like all the time. I really don't feel like it's been 42 weeks of this stuff because, I mean, doing it, you know, making content with you and everything, it blows by so quick. 42 episodes. We were live last night. I want to note that as well. If you did not watch or listen to that episode, go do that if you need to be caught up with all of our trade deadline analysis. There was plenty of coverage nationwide of, you know, the trade deadline and everything that came out of it. But as far as our personal analysis goes, go ahead and listen to that because we put a lot of effort into that. And Matt came on the show and it was a lot of fun. And believe it or not, we talked pretty good things about my Bears. And if you are a Bears fan, you're going to really appreciate that. So most definitely tune into that. But Ben, we talked to you just yesterday. I mean, how are you feeling, man? I mean,
no, I'm feeling good. For those who don't know, which if you've been a long time listener and you don't know, I don't know what you're doing with yourselves. Phillies took game 3. We're up 2-1. We're currently getting swamped right now, but I'm living life, man. And like you said, if you guys, we're not going to be covering the trade deadline here in this episode in the weekly news where you guys would expect, because we put out bonus content. I'm air quoting that because it's basically its own podcast in its own. I think it ended up being like an hour and like 15 minutes. But again, that should tell you guys like how deep we like are going in this stuff. We're trying to put out some good content for you guys in depth, so you guys know what's going on, so you guys know what's happening with your favorite teams. So like Ryan said, go and check that out. But yeah, living life, and I can't wait for tomorrow, man.
Oh yeah, so I mean, we'll get into our picks and everything, which by the way, got to give you props, you killed it. But overall, I think we need to start off with our weekly review, which by the way had a couple shockers in there. Starting off with the Ravens beating the Buccaneers 27-22. Broncos beating the Jaguars overseas, which, I mean, the Jaguars have a pretty decent following over there too. So, Dolphins defeated the Lions 31-27. Falcons beat the Panthers in an overtime thriller 37-34. Vikings beat the Cardinals 34-26. The Cowboys beat the Bears 49-29. Bears dropped almost 30 on the number 2 defense in the league. Just saying. Pretty cool.
Okay. I expected that to come up in last week's episode. I would hope you guys did that when they were playing prevent defense the entire second half.
Whatever, man. We don't get whatever. Saints beat the Raiders 24-0. Eagles beat the Steelers 35-13. Patriots beat the Jets 22-17. Titans beat the Texans 17-10. Seahawks beat the Giants 27-13. Commanders beat the Colts 17-16. 49ers beat the Rams 31-14. The Bills beat the Packers 27-17. And then the Browns just absolutely demolished the Bengals, ripped them apart 32-13. I mean, great week for football, honestly. I mean, that really gave you the whole any given Sunday part, right? I mean, pretty solid. So that'll probably bring up our weekly overreactions as well. What do you have for this week?
No. Well, I mean, we'll start off with just that Monday night game. I mean, literally no one expected that to happen. I mean, most people had the Bengals winning. That didn't happen. But again, like you said, I mean, they got absolutely blown out. And that brings me to my first topic. And it's not something I believe, but it's something that's been floating around there on the internet. Does Joe Burrow need Chase Young or Jamar Chase? Sorry. Yeah. Does Joe Burrow need Jamar Chase to succeed? Because he didn't look like that same guy. And no, I don't think that's quite the case. I think people need to cool down on that a little bit because let's be honest, your offense is going to take a hit when you lose a top 5 wide receiver in the whole league. So,
yeah, a couple for me as well. And keep in mind, I mean, we're not going to cover too much of the trade deadline, but it's going to be really hard not to talk about, the new factors that are in play now. The Browns, dare I say the Browns are back. I mean, they played like the Browns should be playing. On Monday night, they played like they're potential playoff contenders, and they haven't really done that all season. They've played like a unit, just on Monday. That was pretty impressive. And I, can only hope for Cleveland's sake that Deshaun Watson comes in and performs at the level that he used to perform at, just because Cleveland's never been the contender,
Yeah.
And like it or not, Deshaun Watson can really transform the overall aspect of where that team is going. Next up, are the Dolphins in trouble? I mean, that defense allowed 27 points to the Lions, and honestly, they've been up and down all season. They traded for Bradley Chubb, but how much of that's going to fix their problems?
Well, it's funny that you say that because another overreaction I had was on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Again, I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think when it's all said and done 5-6 years from now, there's a chance we can look back at these two wide receivers and be like, wow, this was the greatest wide receiver duo in the history to ever do it. Now that's saying a lot when you look at just off the top of my head, the greatest show on turf, with Holton and Isaac Smith, or Torrey Holton and Bruce. I'm forgetting his first name, but I think those are the clear guys. But that offense is scary. But a big talking point through the first 5 weeks of the season was this Lions offense looked good. So I can't knock them too much on it. I mean, the Lions at one point I think had the number 1 scoring offense in the entire league. Again, they didn't show it the past 2 weeks. They showed it this week. But I can't knock them too much for it. Again, they were the number 1 scoring offense through the first 5 weeks for a reason.
Yeah, and next up, what I really want to talk about too, one of the biggest letdowns in the whole season so far. What's going on with the Raiders, man? The Saints, and we knocked Matt's team, but the Saints absolutely just demolished what was left of the Raiders.
Yeah, man.
You would think Devontae Adams and Derek Carr would be this tandem that was going to just destroy the league offensively, but they didn't even put a point up on the board this week. What were your thoughts?
Like you said, I think definitely biggest disappointment. Devontae Adams he was sick. He probably shouldn't have played this game. Again, he was sick, but I don't think that's really an excuse. You were viewed as the number 1 wide receiver in the whole league for a reason. And you need to start picking that up. And honestly, again, the Raiders are the biggest disappointment we've seen all season, but I think right behind the Raiders, we can throw in Devontae Adams. Yeah. He just hasn't been the Devontae Adams that we've come to know at all this year. Outside of week 1, he has not been that good. It's just a shame. My last one to kind of, I guess, wouldn't build off of that. But I think we saw in the Falcons Panthers game that this was a rare win-win trade for both teams. Yeah. Magically, this Panthers team got better when they traded away CMC. I do think most of that probably has to be with PJ Walker. Again, Baker Mayfield stands, plug your ears, but PJ Walker's come in and just taking a complete command of this offense. But again, we rarely see these win-win trades, but it absolutely happened. It absolutely showed, man.
Yeah, another one that I wanted to talk about, not really crazy overreaction, but I had higher expectations for this team as well. The Colts look like they're going to be among the top 10 in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a couple bigger headlines that I want to follow as well. Are the Packers going to fall under 500 this season? They didn't make any improvements on the trade deadline. And, I'm going to let you speak your piece on this one as well, but let's just look at the remainder of their schedule. So the Packers play the Lions, then they play the Cowboys at home. They play the Titans at home, and then they played the Eagles in Philly, the Bears in Chicago. They play the Rams at home, the Dolphins in Miami, the Vikings at home, and then the Lions at home. Keep in mind as well, they are already sitting at 3-5. Of those games, with the remaining, 9 games, how many of those are actually going to be wins? And because believe it or not, as crazy as it seems, and people are going to call me out, the Titans game looks like it should be one that they should win.
You would hope.
I would almost give the Titans like a little bit more of a nod, like, lift my hat up to them. Cause and here's the thing too, as a Bears fan, you'd probably think like, hey, he's just being biased. They're under, on 500 for, how likely is it that they finish under 500? And I could be talking out of my butt, but the thing is, I was in Wisconsin this past weekend, and the thing is, I was to a certain extent, I even looked at my uncle and said, look, I'm not really one to ever kind of look at the Packers and root for them or say what is and isn't, but like, some certain calls or whatever that the Bills were getting like weren't that good, and like, I was like, oh, come on, like, what's going on here? Then they need help and stuff like that. Now I'm just kind of genuinely concerned, because it's like, as a Bears fan, I'm like, aren't you supposed to be good? Like, what's going on? So I don't know. Out of these 9 games that I told you about, which ones do you think look like wins, and then which ones are trap games and losses?
No, I'm right there with you. I don't think you're being a homer. I definitely think it's a question that we need to ask. And if you were to ask me today, I would say, yeah, absolutely, they're going to finish below 500. Honestly, the only 3 games that are standing out to me are their divisional games. Are these 2 games against the Lions and the Bears? And then outside of that, you're like, wow, this team might lose. Like they're not looking good, man. Again, it's just a shocker, because you expect them to go out and get Aaron Rodgers, Chase Claypool, but that didn't even happen.
Close to it though. Go listen to our previous episode if you want. But
But yeah, with him not having the weapons there, man, I would not at all be surprised. And again, if you were to ask me, I would absolutely project that they finish below 500.
Can we go game by game and predict the rest of their schedule, judging by where they're at?
Judging right now where they're at. It's a dangerous game, but sure.
All right, just for fun, because we like having fun on the Pigskin Project. Packers and Lions. The Lions offense look really good.
No, we'll get to that one. Just skip that one for now.
Cowboys, Packers.
Cowboys.
Titans, Packers.
Titans. That one's going to be close. I think that game can
tight. It's going to be like a Commanders game.
Yeah, that game can go either way.
Packers, Eagles.
Eagles.
Packers, Bears. And the thing is, I appreciate
if it was in Green Bay, I would say Packers.
But it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago, so we're gonna say the Bears.
I love
when it's all said and done, the Packers are probably gonna win that. But for the time being, we will say the Bears.
Okay. Rams and Packers at Lambeau.
This is another one of those tricky games, because the Rams have not looked good at all this year. But you got to go through Super Bowl champs.
Yeah. Packers, Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Vikings, Packers.
Vikings.
Lions, Packers.
Lions.
Okay, so are you saying the Lions and Packers will split, or are you going to say the Lions are going to just
I'm not
overall?
It doesn't, for the terms of the exercise, they're finishing below 500. We're going to leave that game alone for right now.
Okay, because every single game that I told you, they were losing. Not
Yeah.
a single game the Packers were winning. And I said in our group chat as well, and I'll give
They're
my
going to
predictions
find a
afterwards.
few ways to win a couple of games down the stretch.
I'm saying this little skid that they're on, right? The last game that they won was the Patriots, but they haven't won. They've lost the last 4 games, right? I said to you guys, and Matt even said like that's a little bit of a bold take, but right now looking at it, I feel like you can give me a little bit more props. This 4-game losing streak is not going to be the longest one that they experience this season. It's going to be a little bit shorter. In fact, I have the Lions knocking them off at home. So the Cowboys beating them at Lambeau. The Titans beating the Packers. The Eagles beating the Packers. Actually, no. Let me take that back. For some reason, it's going to be flip-flop between the Packers and the Lions. The Lions are going to lose at home to the Packers, but the Packers are going to lose at home to the Lions. So, Lions are going to lose. So, let's give the Packers this week the win. Cowboys, Packers, Cowboys. Titans, Packers. It's going to be the Titans. Eagles. I'm giving my Bears a nod right now, and I'm kind of scared just because our defense looks like it's pretty holy, but the thing is I figured maybe they'll have the secondary sorted out by then. I'm scared of Aaron Jones. So Rams, Packers. I'm going to give the Packers that one, even though they should lose. Packers, Dolphins. I'm going to say no.
Stop.
I can't do that. I'm going back to my previous one. No, the Rams are going to win that one. But they'll beat the Dolphins in Miami. They will beat the Vikings because the Vikings are going to have the division clinched. And then they'll beat the Lions to win the last 3 of their schedule, but they will go on a 5-game losing streak after this week. They will lose at least 5 more games this season. I think we can at least agree on that. And with that being said, as bad as it looks too on Packers fans, because I'm sure they're just, gritting their teeth at this, that puts them at 6-10 or 6-11, say, if they lose the next 6. So they don't look good, and that's far from 500. Something to note. The last bullet point that I want to talk about is I believe the Super Bowl hangover is real. These two teams have not played like, if you had just started watching the NFL just today, there's no way that you can look at me honestly and say, yeah, these two teams played in the Super Bowl. You would look at me and say the Eagles were in the Super Bowl and like maybe the Chiefs or the Bills.
Wait.
I'm saying what?
Are you telling me the Chiefs are good this year?
They've exceeded my expectations, yes. So that's really all that I have for weekly overreactions.
I have one more for you.
Yeah.
Are the Seahawks for real, man? The Seahawks are looking good. I mean, they might be for real. And this Geno Smith sweepstakes is going to be crazy. And we saw the leader that he was in that game when Tyler Lockett dropped like a touchdown pass that could have won them the game.
Yeah.
Geno went over there, said like, hey, cool it down. I'm going to continue throwing it to you. And then sure enough, 3 or 4 minutes later, not even that. They fumbled it was like 2 minutes later. He had him for the game-winning touchdown anyways. This team, man, they've exceeded everyone's expectations, which is funny going into the year because we had a conversation about which team is better between the Bears and Seahawks. No one expected the Seahawks to be this good. So.
But nobody expected the Bears to be where they were either. I mean, the Bears' offense has exceeded everybody's expectations. The Bears have always been a defensive team. But when it comes to the Seahawks, what I will say is I think people have a reason to be excited about them. And their future as well. Geno Smith has done phenomenal. But I think looking at the remaining schedule, I mean, they have the Cardinals, Buccaneers, Raiders, Rams, Panthers, 49ers, Chiefs, Jets, Rams. They have plenty of games to where they can really surprise a lot more people or they can get exposed again.
Will say, I'm thinking about this real quick. Geno Smith's contract is done after this year. He's going to go out and make some big money.
Mhm.
If they could extend Geno Smith for one more year and then go out and draft Hendon Hooker in the late first round, early second round, that'd be perfect.
That would
Because
be.
Hendon
Hooker
Hooker
looks
is
good.
the exact quarterback. Like when I think of a projection to the next level for Hendon Hooker, it's the way Geno Smith is playing right now. Obviously, not the Geno Smith the last 8 years or whatnot, but
Yeah.
like the way Geno Smith is playing now, man, like that's exactly like I'd be like, yeah, that's what Hendon Hooker is going to be. So just food for thought. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, and I'm another player that has similar play style that I'm really hoping improves later on because I want to see the kid flourish. Malik Willis, I mean, he made his first
He got his
start this
first start.
previous week. Wasn't really all that thrilling, but the thing is that they ran the ball like a lot. So, and thanks Titans for the awesome Derrick Henry performance. I liked that a lot. But anyways, yeah. So we're gonna move on because it's time for, if I can find the clip, here we go.
Just when you thought it was safe to play the underdog, we put you on Upset Alert.
Upset alert. It's upset alert.
I hate to.
Oh, wait, no, we still have weekly news.
Yep.
It is not upset alert time. If you are upset about that, then it's upset alert time. But it is not upset alert time.
You
kinda
caught me
go
off
through
guard.
this.
I'm like, what? There's not a lot of news, but one of the news you can dig a little deep into. So
Dan Snyder selling the team.
and yeah, which is about time. Everyone's like, it's never gonna happen. It's good. Oh, he's looking into selling the team. And everyone's like, what? Why is Dan Snyder selling? Like he said he didn't want to sell and stuff. Well, it's because the district attorney is investigating the financial like improperties of the Commanders. I don't know what that means, but I do know if the district attorney is investigating your team, you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And we all knew it was going to take something like this to get Dan Snyder out of here. But it's about time that he's gone because he's one of the worst stains in the NFL. Like he's awful. He's an awful owner. He's an awful person. He's looking into selling the team. There's like nothing official yet, but it would be. I can't wait for this offseason when this trade or when not the trade, but when the sale actually happens to whoever happens. I'm just ready for Dan Snyder to get the heck out of the NFL, man.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't really have all that much to say because you covered all the bases. But what I will say is if you're a Commanders fan, you should definitely be a little bit more optimistic about your future as a franchise. Just because, I'm hoping a lot comes out of this for the next 10 years. I'm looking at like new stadium, for example, because God knows they need it too. Anyways, Cam Akers does not want to come back to the Rams, which I don't think a single person who keeps up with NFL news is very shocked. There's optimism within the franchise that they can kind of set aside their differences and put their noses to the grindstone and kind of grind out the year. He's still a pretty serviceable back, and I think that he can actually do, one heck of a job in Los Angeles. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on Cam Akers?
I would have liked to see him run behind a better offensive line because that offensive line there is awful. And again, we talked about this a little bit on yesterday's bonus episode that we put out for you guys. But the shocking thing that came out today is, they received offers for him. It's not that they didn't get offers for him, so they kept him. This dude is actively saying, I want out, I want out, I want out. And they were like, nah. And he's like, well, watch me then. I just won't play for you. Which, again, I hope that, he gets things straight with them. He plays out the rest of the season, and then maybe we can see him traded in the offseason or something. Because, again, coming out of Florida State, the dude was an awesome back. And when he came back from injury, people were like, okay, last year when he came back for injury for the playoff run, he looked well. His rookie year was amazing when he caught on. He just hasn't performed up to expectations this year. So I hope to see him, kind of put a foot in the right direction and kind of catch out of the player that we hope to see him be one day. So,
yeah, for sure. Now we can move on.
Upset alert.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to play the underdog, we put you on Upset Alert.
Yeah, I just played that again for the jokes. Anyways, so yeah, there's a few games actually that I'm seeing this week that I
There's
think
4.
can
I have circled for upset alert.
I have 6.
You always have 6. You come out and you like pick half the games to be upset alerts. It's
Well,
bonkers.
how many did I have last
I
week?
know. Yeah, I know. I know
I
you
had
always
6
have a lot.
again
I'm
last
just pulling
week.
your leg.
I
I don't know.
did
The
have
far
6.
what?
I had 6 last week too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I have 4 circled here. I have the Panthers, or not Panthers. Well, I do have the Panthers circled. I have Panthers versus Bengals circled. The Panthers looking like they're improving. Bengals look like they're on a little bit of a drought here. Ravens versus Saints. The Saints looked awesome. The Ravens hopefully can start picking things up to close out the game. And then I have the Colts versus Patriots. The Colts didn't look good. Patriots didn't look good either. That's the only reason I have this game on upset alert. And the final one that I've been kept on trying to avoid is the Lions versus Packers.
Yeah, that's just oh man. I don't know. I honestly don't know what direction to go because the Packers defense could go like super, super good, and then their offense can crap the bed, but it's fine because their defense limits the other offense. But then you also have the Lions defense that is horrible, where it's like maybe the Packers can do something special here, or I don't know. The thing is, I have them for sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, if you're a Packers fan and they lose this game, pure panic has ensued.
Oh yeah.
Literally anything, and I mean, especially because, it's in Detroit, like, who's in Detroit, man? Like, I know they have passionate fans, don't get me wrong, but like you just lost to Dan Campbell. Like, so that's one of them. That's actually my first game. Chargers and Falcons, because they look bad. Vikings versus Commanders. I think the Commanders could potentially pull something off, and it's one of those games the Vikings should win, but the Vikings are the Vikings, and I don't trust them. Jags versus Raiders. I don't know which team would be upset here, but
that's why I didn't.
that's the thing. I mean, the Raiders should win this game. They should. The Jags have looked really bad outside of maybe a couple things. I think the Jags could potentially take this and upset the Raiders there. Dolphins and Bears. Call me a homer if you want. It all comes down to whether or not Chase Claypool can play. I'm also looking at the Bears secondary here, and the thing is, they've played pretty decently, and I think that
no team has been able to stop that wide receiver duo. Literally no team in the NFL has been able to stop them. I'm pretty sure they're 1-3 in yards per game.
Okay, but look at the Lions defense and tell me how they only won by 4 points.
It wasn't by stopping them.
That's the thing. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a low scoring game. In fact, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. I think we're going to have a lot of fun on Sunday. The thing is, I'm not saying that the Bears are going to win this game. I'm saying that there's potential for an upset.
The only reason the Lions were in this game is because their offense was good. It had nothing to do with their defense, is what I'm saying. And you guys don't have the offense to compete with that. So,
okay. Seahawks versus Cardinals. Seahawks are on
dude.
a roll here,
What is this? I feel like you're doing this just to f with me, and it hasn't worked out for you like at all. Just saying.
I mean, sometimes it does. I mean, sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's my upset alert. We got to move on to the next segment too. So
you think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin Pick'em.
Guys, I played the right drop. That was cool. Anyways, so Ben, you killed it last week, man. For those that are following along, I mean, I went 6-9 on my predictions. My first down week of the whole season. Ben just absolutely curb stomped me 11-4 or 11-4 on the week. He just blew up, and so overall I am 72-50-1. Ben is 67-55-1, and man, is he closing that gap. Round of applause for you, buddy. Congratulations. How are you feeling? Let me interview you. Come on.
I'm feeling great. we started off rough. Now we understand the landscape of the NFL a little bit here. We're looking to come back and have a strong week, build off the week we put last week, and that's all it is gaining momentum each and every week, trying to improve, trying to get better, trying not to let those down weeks define who you are as a person, as a team.
Yeah, so my top question of the week is, a couple weeks ago you picked the Cardinals to win, and you were right about that one. Are you ever going to change your mind and actually pick the Cardinals again?
Well, let's look at this Cardinals record here. What, they've won 3 games? 2 games maybe? Here, we're gonna pull them up real quick. The Cardinals are not showing me their record. 3-5. All right.
Yeah.
I've only lost 2 games when I've predicted every single game through 7 games correct for the Cardinals, besides 2. So
They have a tough schedule. Come on now.
It's working out for me, man. Cliff looks like he's gonna be fired. Like I said, get Cliff out of there. Get Gamer Boy out of there.
Well, we're gonna send it back up to the studio here before he gets too big of a head. Anyways, we are going to start off with the Thursday night football game, Eagles versus Texans. Your Eagles are playing. They are off to a hot start. Ben, I know who you're gonna pick. The Birds are gonna win this one, but by how much?
So before let's do some in-depth analysis. I'm gonna have the Birds winning by a lot. That being said, I am just prepping myself for it to not be a lot. We're gonna win, but the Texans have played very, very, very good foot. Their record obviously isn't good, but they have this weird ability to play every team good and to give every team their worst game thus far. They've played each and every team good. They've looked very, very well. So it's a little bit scary. Here, let's see. They held the Titans to a good game. They were step in step with the rate. They lost by 2 touchdowns. They held the Jaguars to a good game. They held the Chargers to a good game. They've held the Broncos to a good game. And let's not talk about the Bears. They beat the Niners, and then they tied the Colts. They're playing teams well. They're just on the opposite side of those small plays. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're gonna have the Eagles win 31-10.
Not bad. I have them 35-10, so I'm gonna give them a little bit more of a nod. Heading into our noon games, our noon slate, Patriots versus Colts in Indianapolis. A little bit of a rivalry from back in the day. I love Lucas Oil Stadium though, man. It is so nice. Anyways, those of you know why I'm so infatuated with it, but making another trip down here in the later months. So, just watch for that. Anyways, Patriots versus Colts. Ben, starting us off again. What do you think?
Patriots. I haven't seen it from Sam. It was Sam's first game back, or first game starting. I think we see him take a step forward. But literally just because of that, we're going to have the Patriots win 21-17.
I have the same score prediction, except I have the Colts coming out on top.
Okay.
That home field advantage is pretty crazy, enough to beat the Chiefs at one point as well. So just making things interesting a little bit. Lions versus Packers, Ben. We got to say something about it, man. This is a close game, and it really shouldn't be. But the Packers don't look that good, and I'm sorry if you're a Packers fan, whatever. But Lions and Packers, what are we thinking?
And for that reason, the Lions are going to take the dub here. It's going to be the lowest scoring game we see all week. The Lions are going to win 17-10.
Ooh.
And that's saying something because it's the worst offense in the league versus the worst defense in the league. 17-10.
I'm going to go Packers 27-21.
Wow. You're going to let the Packers put up 27 points?
And I am. And it's not going to be because of any of their wide receivers, except for I think Romeo Doubs has a good day. I don't think Lazard plays, but what I will say is Aaron Jones, if you have him on your fantasy team, start him absolutely, because he's going to take off and tear up that Lions D. Chargers versus Falcons. I don't know if I just had an NFL broadcaster moment or anything, but it's okay. Anyways, Chargers versus Falcons.
AJ Brown or AJ Dillon's going to tear up that Lion D. Anyways, we're going to have the Chargers beat the Falcons 27-13. I'm sorry, I'm a child.
Let's say it again.
The Chargers.
Mine's in the gutter.
The Chargers are going to beat the Falcons 27-13.
I will have the Chargers in a closer game. And I'm going to say it's going to be 24-21. Bills versus Jets.
We finally saw Zach Wilson he hasn't looked very well all season, but he looked awful. And he's really going to be the downfall of this team. I think the Bills are going to swap this team. The Bills are going to win 34-17.
I have the Bills 38-13. Vikings versus Commanders.
Yeah, the Vikings are going to absolutely just kill the Commanders. Like, this offense is scary, dude. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, now TJ Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook. This is one of the top flight offenses in the league. The Commanders defense just cannot hang with them. The Vikings are going to win 30-17. Sorry.
All right. I am going to have I'm going to have the Vikings. No, you know what? No, I'm going to have the Commanders. And I'm going to say the Commanders are going to win 21 to the Vikings 20. It's going to be close. And last second touchdown by Antonio Gibson. Why not?
Wow.
Bengals versus Panthers.
I know you have the circle as an upset. I really think the Bengals just had a down week. If they could stop Ryan Burns, this game is going to be close. The Bengals are going to win 27-14.
27-14. All right.
Bengals.
I am also going to have the Bengals win. And it's going to be, they're going to take off. Tyler Boyd has a big day here. I'm going to say 34 to the Panthers 13. They're going to take out their frustrations and just kick a dead horse. Jags versus Raiders.
This is just a battle of like two teams who just haven't looked good. My gut is really telling me to go Raiders here. My gut has done pretty well for me, but I think we're going to pick against it, man. I think the Jags are going to win this one 27-10.
I'm also going with the Jags, and I will say it's going to be about 24-17 and just not be that fun of a game to watch, but a fun game to watch. And I have a question about this one before we dive into it. Is Dolphins versus Bears. For this one, does Chase Claypool, does he get his first snap as a Bear?
Yeah, no, of course. No, he's
starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
thank you. Because I wanted
well,
to
I don't
that.
know about starting, but he's playing.
Okay. All right.
He's
cool.
playing. So.
Also, Cody Whitehair got activated off the IR and should be returning. So
he probably won't play. Usually, at least looking at what's happened thus far throughout this first 7 weeks of the NFL or 8 weeks or whatnot, players usually don't play the first week after being activated off IR. We'll see though. It's going to be a fun game for me to watch. I really don't think it's going to be a fun game for you to watch, buddy. I'm sorry. We're going to have the Dolphins double the Bears score here, and we're going to have them win 34-17.
Ooh. I mean, I guess I see it, but the thing is, okay, how much does Bradley Chubb play in? You know?
I
probably is he just as much of an impact as Claypool is to the Bears?
Probably right around there, yeah.
So I'm going to have a really high-scoring game. I'm going to say the Dolphins are going to drop 48 on us, and the Bears are going to score 37, and I'm going to have the Dolphins winning. My home streak is going to be coming down to an end, but it's going to be very high-scoring and a lot of fun. I think the Bears are going to come out to an early lead. and it's going to shock people. Either that, or it's going to be extremely low scoring and the most boring game of the season. Anyways, Seahawks versus Cardinals. And Ben, I think you already know where I'm going with this one.
And I think you already know where I'm going with this one. Seahawks 24, Cardinals 17.
Not a lot of analysis. Love it. I'm going Cardinals, and I'm going to say 28 to the Seahawks 20.
I will say I do think the Cardinals have a chance to win this game. D-Hop has looked good. They're looking like they're finally finding a little bit of something on the offense. It's really just a matter of I don't know if they can match up against Kenny Walker, Lockett, and DK Metcalf. So
fair. Bucks versus Rams.
This game was the hardest game of the week to pick for me. Really? It was just tough, man. Both teams have come out looked very, very disappointing. It's just a matter of what offense do I think is better, what defense do I think is better. I do think the Rams have the better defense, but I don't think it's going to put them over the edge. I do think the Bucks are going to win this one in a really, really close game, 24-21. I just think they're going to be able to outscore the Rams just a little bit more.
Wow, the Rams just are not off to a great start. I think here's the thing. It's a crisis situation for both franchises.
Exactly.
Tom Brady could be on like the longest losing streak of his career. That's not really, I think this past week was the first time he's ever lost 3 straight. Now, is it going to be 4 straight? I'm not entirely sure, but I will say I will pick the Bucks, and I'm going to say it's going to be 23-20. It's still going to be a 3-point game, but it's going to be pretty close and kind of boring. Chiefs versus Titans.
Yeah, the Chiefs are going to take this one. I really don't think it's going to be too close. I think the Chiefs are going to take this one 31-17.
I think the Titans potentially can take a little bit of a upset, but the Chiefs are a safe pick. I think the Titans are going to really no, I'm going with the Titans. My gut's telling me to pick the Titans, and I'm going 27-23. I'm not entirely sure why. My gut's just pick the Titans. You're going to want to pick the Titans. Or just pick the Titans. So I'm picking the Titans. Ravens versus Saints.
Again, as I've said it before, the Saints finally looked good on offense. They looked like something was coming. And that was because of Kamara. Kamara had, I think it was 2 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. He looked awesome. He exploded this past week. But I think the Ravens finally take on their final form. And again, I've said it before. Sorry, Matt, we're rooting against your Saints each and every week. The Ravens are going to win this one 27-10.
All right. And then I also think the Ravens will take this one. I will say 28. No, I'm going 31-17. All right. So that'll do it for Pigskin Pick'em. Now, Ben, we're going to send it over to you for your segment.
Pro football isn't the only game in town. Let's take a stroll to Ben's College Corner.
All right. Let me just say, I want to start us off. I know it's your segment, but Tennessee should not be number 1.
You're wrong.
It should be number 2.
You're wrong.
Behind Ohio State.
Wrong.
That's it. I'll mute myself. You can talk.
Wrong. No. Actually, I want you to stay unmuted for this just real quick. Why do you think Ohio State deserves to be over Tennessee? Both teams have looked like they've been powerhouses. And like I said at the end of the year, I think Ohio State finishes at the 1 spot. I think Ohio State wins the chip. But thus far, both teams have looked very good. The only thing that's putting Tennessee above Ohio State is Tennessee has that win.
And
well, not even strength. It's just they have that win. They beat Bama.
I'm saying strength of schedule and the way that they've faced adversity so far this season has gotten them the 1 spot. That's the only reason why. And that makes sense. Ohio State will at one point prove why.
Yeah.
I feel like, they always start off a little bit slow, which is why they started slow against Notre Dame. But I think, you know what? It's semantics. Ohio State got the number 2 seed. We're fighting over 1 spot, and they both made the college football playoff.
And I get what you're saying. Again, like I said, I think they're going to finish in that number 1 seed. But this poll isn't about projections. This poll is about what's happening right now.
I'm
And
scared
right
of
now,
Michigan.
Tennessee looks like the number one team in the country.
I'm a little nervous about Michigan, I will say.
Don't
But
be.
the
Don't
thing is, I
be.
mean, whenever you look at, I don't know if you feel this way either, but I mean, whenever, my team plays against a ranked team, I start to get a little nervous. I don't know if you
There
feel
for a
that way.
second, man. I told you not to worry about that game, but that first half was a bit scary.
Ohio State and Penn State? Yeah, I told you, Penn State's home crowd is insane, man.
Raucous.
And yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think maybe they should have the number 2 seed. They allowed 31 points to 16 rank Penn State. That's fine. But I mean, they do look like a powerhouse. I think Michigan can potentially expose them out and down the road. I wouldn't like that, especially because I'm going to be a little busy that day. I should be down in Indianapolis. I'm not even going to be able to watch that game. It'll be right in the middle of a state championship game. So, just saying it'll be a little risky. But I mean, the rest of the schedule looks fine except for that Michigan game. Ohio State, they do look like a powerhouse. If they can get past Michigan with ease, I'll fully believe in this team. Otherwise, there's an upset happening at some point, and I'm going to be pretty let down. That's just the way that it goes.
Don't be.
So,
all right. So as Ryan mentioned before, the college football rankings came out. This is the first week that it's actually a committee. Before this, it's been AP poll, which is AP poll isn't like the actual poll that college football is based off of. College football's playoff works. It's just the top 4 seeds, and it's top 4 seeds based off of this, not the AP poll. And Tennessee, just to run through, we'll do the top 10 teams. Tennessee at 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Michigan at 5, Bama 6, TCU 7, which is a little bit of a surprise, Oregon 8, USC 9, and LSU 10. TCU being this high is a little bit of a surprise. No one expected TCU to be this good this season. LSU, I don't believe belongs in the 10 spot. The only reason LSU belongs in the 10 spot, or the only reason LSU is here in the 10 spot, is literally just to hype up their matchup this week, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But just a team on the outside looking in that I think could make this Final Four is this UCLA team. This UCLA team has only lost 1 game this season, and that's to Oregon. And you have to assume, again, either Georgia, Tennessee will lose this week. Michigan and Ohio State play each other down the road. So those teams are both going to have the loss. If UCLA can win out the rest of the season and then win in the Pac-12 championship, you have to say that this team deserves to be in that top 4. I think this UCLA team is scary. And the fun thing about the Pac-12 is, unlike the Big Ten or the SEC, where it's division by division, we have 2 separate divisions, the Big Ten, there's 2 separate divisions, the SEC. The Pac-12 and the Big 12, it's just the best 2 teams. There's no divisions. It's just the best 2 teams. So we could realistically see down the stretch UCLA play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. And if they can redeem themselves, you're going to be hard-pressed to not see me arguing to see that team in the top 4 there. That being said, if you guys want to find the rest of the list, you can pretty much find it anywhere. You guys can go to ESPN's college football on Twitter. ESPN has a ranking out. It's everywhere. In terms of games looking forward to this week, obviously the big game that's circled here, arguably maybe the game of the year, Tennessee versus Georgia. That's first-ranked Tennessee versus third-ranked Georgia. And it's really just a matter of who can win this game. If Tennessee wins this, they're in. If Georgia wins this, they're in. I don't like to make predictions in this. I am going to predict Tennessee to win this. Georgia's one of Georgia's best defensive players, and Nolan Smith, who's their edge rusher. He was the number 1 ranked player in his high school class coming into Georgia. He tore his pec. He's out for the rest of the season, which is a shame. This dude was playing into late day 1, early day 2 category when it comes in terms of the draft. And I think that's going to be a big hit on their defense. I think Tennessee is just going to boat race Georgia. I don't think Georgia has the offense to be able to keep up with Tennessee's offense. I do think Tennessee is going to win this one. Tennessee looks scary, man. And then we're going to go to the other division in the SEC. And like I said before, LSU is ranked 10, but they're playing 6th-ranked Bama. Again, I think the only reason LSU is at 10 is to kind of prop up this matchup. I really don't think this matchup is going to be close. Just as I said the matchup before, I think Bama's going to boat race LSU. LSU does not have the defense to stop Bama's offense, and they sure as heck don't have the offense to keep up with that. And then the third game I have, a little bit biased here, Clemson versus Notre Dame. I don't think Clemson belongs in front of Michigan. Clemson hasn't played very well when they've played these top-tier opponents, and Michigan has. Michigan has played very, very well when they've been playing these marquee matchups. I think Michigan deserves to be here, and I think hopefully Notre Dame can win this game and show why. But if Notre Dame can't, man, Clemson's schedule is easy. The ACC is easy. They're going to be the ACC champions this year, as they have in the past few years outside of last year. Clemson is pretty easy to just mark in there because there's no one in the ACC for them to play against. And then we'll move on to the Big 12. We have had a lot of conversations about these different conferences. But in terms of players that I want you guys to watch each and every week, the player I have for you guys this week is in the Big 12. And I try to avoid picking these marquee prospects, these top-tier prospects. But I just couldn't help myself but to talk about Bijan Robinson. If you guys don't know who Bijan Robinson is, you guys have been living under a rock. Bijan Robinson is the running back. I like to call him a weapon, but he's the running back for Texas. Dude is going to be a top 20 pick, and he absolutely deserves it. If Saquon can go in the top 4, Bijan can definitely go in the top 20. Bijan, as far as his pros, his great vision, he can find the holes in the line that the offense is making him, and when those holes are clogged up, the dude has the vision to bounce out when he needs to, or find a hole that wasn't supposed to be there that is there. He's super athletic. He's very quick. He's very powerful. He's just the pure definition of an athlete. And again, I like to call him a weapon because he's a great receiver out of the backfield as well. Dude can catch the football. And I mean, if you're looking at his cons, you're thinking to yourself, what can't this guy do? Exactly. That is why he belongs to be a top 20 pick. You don't usually see a dude with this profile and not really having any cons not be a top 20 pick. The only reason he's not in that discussion is because he plays running back. But in terms of cons, they're two very, very, very nitpicky things. I think he can improve a little bit on his pass protection. But that doesn't really matter because on third downs, the dude's probably going to be leaking out of the backfield to catch a pass. Anyways, I don't think he's bad at it. I just think it's a small little nitpicky thing. And then the other problem, which you see in these marquee prospects, sometimes he tries too much. Sometimes he just needs to go down. Sometimes he's trying to bounce around a little bit and try to make something out of nothing that can get him in trouble a little bit. But really, I'm not too worried about it. And I'm very, very excited to see where this dude ends up going in the NFL. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about college football next week.
Well, before we get going, I want to say the second to last week, right? The 19th, Michigan plays Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that matchup?
I'm not worried about it. I think Illinois is a fraud. I'm not too worried. I mean, Illinois has, I'm blanking on the name. Illinois has a good CB. He's either CB or safety, so we're going to say defensive back. And they have a really good running back, but we've done really, really good all year stopping the run. And it looks like thus far no team can stop Michigan's run. I'm not very worried about it. I think Illinois is one of the most overhyped teams in all of the nation. They slide here at number 16 on the on this ranking. I would not be surprised if they finish the year outside of that. So,
Gotcha.
It's time for America's favorite game, Weddle.
All right, let's get it going. Ladies and gents, Ben is 11-7. I'm on a little bit of a tear here. Let's see if we can keep it going. We love playing Weddle. So
I need to quit second guessing myself. That's really what it is. I'm like on hard mode. I'm like, this guy can't be here. Like Nick Bosa, no business being on the hard mode. What is Nick Bosa doing on the hard mode?
And not only that, but I just found a new layout for us.
I like the other one better.
This one. All right, cool. Never mind. It's fine.
Personally.
Whatever. You know what? Actually,
because it allows me to see the bottom of the screen better too.
I think
that
this
works
one
as well, man.
Yeah. You know what? Now it's our show. Let's be on the screen. Anyways, so I get first pick, and I'm going with the newest bear, Chase Claypool, and I nail the height on the head. And it still shows he's a Steeler. Okay.
He's not a wide receiver. He has to be a quarterback, and he plays in the NFC. Older than 24, 6'4", NFC. I don't think the numbers checks out here, but we'll do Matt Stafford. Sorry.
All right.
No, I was off by an inch, but I got
It was pretty solid still, though.
NFC West, man. Niners, Cardinals. Or
Well, I know it's not the Cardinals. Kyler's short, man.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
well,
it's
it
not a
doesn't have to be a
quarterback.
quarterback.
Yeah.
It has to be a running back. I'm trying to think of a
who's
big running back
tall
who
running
plays
back?
for the Niners, Cardinals, or Rams. Or Niners, Cardinals.
It's a tight end. It's George
It's
Kittle.
a tight end. Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
I didn't think tight end was in easy mode. Look at that.
I can't believe we just, nailed it. Third pick. Anyways,
Nice.
all right. Hard mode.
Hard mode.
I'm going to give you the first pick, actually.
Sure.
AJ Brown?
AJ Brown.
All right. So he's 25 years old. He plays in the NFC. He is not a wide receiver, but he is an offensive piece. He's taller than 6'1" and shorter. His jersey numbers, not 11.
But he's under 11, so it has to be okay. I think I know the position.
I'm gonna go. I don't think this checks out, but Cole Kmet. Oh, he's only 23. Wow. What do you know?
That leaves the West and the South. I don't think it's a West quarterback.
He's either a quarterback or
It's a
running
quarterback.
back. This is where it matters.
We're gonna do it, but I don't think this works. Derrick Henry.
All right.
Oh, AFC. I was thinking. My bad. Yeah, it's a quarterback. That's what I thought. I don't want to let you talk me off that. So it has to be in the West or the South. I need to think who's in the West. What are the West? Once I can see the teams in the division, I can think of it. Dang.
NFC South.
Okay, so I hate to help you here, but we are.
No. Don't even.
I was going to help you with the division.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay, then that's fine.
So it's either going to be the division of like the Panthers, Bucks, Saints, and Falcons, or it's going to be the division we were just looking at in the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals.
Niners, Seahawks, Rams. Drew Lock. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly where my head was at too. I was kind of hoping you weren't going to say nothing, but it's okay. I was pretty dialed in. It's okay though. We'll help a brother out here. I shouldn't have said anything. I didn't think you were when I told you that. I didn't think
I was going there.
You would have gotten Drew Lock. To be honest, I was dialed in. I got too cocky. Shouldn't.
I was just
have helped
thinking.
you. Got a little
I was
cocky.
like, okay, so I didn't know his height, but I knew he was fairly young, and I knew he fit the division. He was a quarterback, and I didn't remember his number, but I thought it was definitely less than 10. So I was like, let's go with it. So, anyways, solid. All right, cool.
Nice.
We got a fun one. Yeah.
What's the name of the segment? Oh, you're not talking about Ryan and Ben? Oh, okay. Well, hold on. I've got it. It's time for Gridiron Goofs.
All right. So
Who gets first pick here?
I will double check, but what I will say is, let's see.
Dude, I have a big board here. It's not even, and you're gonna be like, what? Why are you picking the way you are? It'll make sense. So.
Oh my god. Okay, let me just say, last week I totally botched that draft. Anyways, so we're doing a rookie draft. One linebacker, one defensive end, one defensive tackle, one safety, two corners, and then on offense, one quarterback, one offensive tackle, one offensive guard, one center, two wide receivers, one tight end, and one running back. So Ben gets the first pick here, and who are you going with?
And again, so we're doing based off the performance that they've had thus far in the season. Like, I'm trying to think of a player who got picked pretty. Like, here, we're not going to pick this guy. Like Kayvon Thibodeau, he went high. We're not going to pick Kayvon Thibodeau because he probably hasn't looked very well. I think there's 2 clear pass rushers here to be picked. I'm just throwing that out there. We're going based off how they've performed, not their draft position. That being said, I'm going to go with a completely out there pick. We're going with Tyler Linderbaum because there is no other center out of this draft who has played at all.
Yeah.
At all. You're not going to get a center. You're not getting a center. I mean, you're getting a center, but we're going Tyler Linderbaum. He's thank you.
All right.
And I know I'm going with the next pick here too.
With my first pick, I want to build the offense, but I don't want to botch the defense. I'm going to go with my own position. I'm going to pick Sauce Gardner.
That's good. See, I would have stayed away from there because there's a lot of DBs in this class that have performed very well I'm okay with not picking. But we're going to stick with the defensive back group, and you are just going to be livid.
I know.
There has been no other safety in this draft class that has performed anywhere near as well as your boy Jaquan Brisker.
Oh. Ow.
Yep. It works out. It's a unique draft strategy, not where I would build a team in real life. But if we're going off the polls of the players that were drafted this past year, the next safety is maybe Dax Hill, but he hasn't even been playing well. Jaquan Brisker is the safety who has been playing and has been playing very, very, very well.
Dang it. Oh man. Dude. Okay, keep in mind, guys, whoever's listening. I did not really prep for this. I haven't really had the time.
So if you just look up NFL rookies by position, here, let me see if I can find. It's by the huddle. That right there will tell you, it breaks it down by position. So
as far as best perform. Oh wait, yeah, no,
not best performing, just by who's in what position, and you can look at the list pretty handedly. And
I'm there.
Yeah.
I guess I pick the other corner and go with Woolen.
That's fine because Stingley would have been my pick here anyways.
Yeah.
So Stingley has been locked down. That being said, I don't have to touch this CB group at all anymore. That also being said, I'm picking guys who have looked very, very good thus far. And again, mind you guys, this is based off of how they've performed thus far. Give me Jordan Davis. He's been awesome. He's been the highest graded defensive tackle. I mean, he's hurt. He's going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. But again, like I said, we're picking positions where there's just not anyone else there. Like Devontae Wyatt, sure, he's played. He hasn't looked good. So give me Jordan Davis, man.
I'm going to go more on the offensive side here, and I'm going to pick my tackle hero at Evan Neal.
That's fine because I don't even think he was the best offensive tackle on the board, man.
Ike Ekwonu,
Yeah.
Is that...
And sticking
Charles Cross, maybe?
What?
Charles Cross, maybe? I don't know.
No, I think Ike has performed the best out of any. I really don't think it's close. The dude has been an absolute road grader, and since week 2, the dude hasn't given up a sack all season. But again, you can change it up. It's okay. I mean, I can take Evan Neal if you want to.
It's fine.
Doesn't matter.
It's fine.
All right.
I'm cool.
Sticking with the theme that I've put together thus far of players who have been performing well. This dude hasn't played much this season, but no rookie tight end has played much of the season. And in the 2 games that he had, or the 3 games he has played this season, he's looked very well. Give me Greg Dulcich. You can have Isaiah Likely because he has not looked good outside of this last week.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay. Looking at it, I don't know if I want to go that route. Dude, you suck for picking Brisker that high too, because he played really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
This is dude, there's another safety you could pick. My boy. He's played well too. I thought there was a mismatch. I completely looked over my guy.
I don't know
I'm
if
not
I
going to
want
trade
to.
him. I still
I
think
mean, like,
Brisker's played well, but
I was gonna say I don't need to touch that position anymore, so we're
Mhm.
fine. Anyways,
I'm locked and loaded with the next pick that I'm going with.
because I mean, I just don't know what direction you could go from
We're
here.
now at the
Because I
point.
mean, there's so many.
We're now at the point that like my draft strategy has worked out very well, so I can go anywhere and pick a player. Like it's not it's no longer that strategy anymore. Now there's guys at every position that I like.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 or 4 of them.
Um. Okay, so you already eliminated a couple of your spots, and I've got a couple ideas of what I'm gonna do.
Mm.
So and the thing is, like, it's not that they haven't, or it's not that they're super talented. It's more so that they haven't played, so we can't really say much.
Yeah,
But there's a
exactly.
reason as of why I'm going to be picking them later on, and you'll get to why. But anyways, um, I wish I came more prepared. Oh man. Sorry, guys. It's been a really long week for me too, by the way. I gotta say. Okay. I'm gonna go with my oh man, no, I can't. Never mind. Dude, what? Okay.
I don't. My biggest, the biggest, and I'm so happy I went with him. I don't think you would have went with him anyways, because I don't think your head was at that spot. The biggest mismatch is center, dude. The biggest mismatch is center. Like there is just not a soul on this list that has played anything.
Right.
Like, I mean, Cam Jurgens has played, but he's played like 6 snaps in garbage time this past week, and that's it.
I don't know what I want to do. Okay. What else do I need? I need a safety.
What your dad said.
I don't need it. Yeah, what did he say? Got to give Ben this draft because his home cooked meal draft sucked. Yeah,
See,
no,
you said
absolutely.
You botched it, bro. I think I smoked you.
Okay, dude, hold on. Let's go back while we're talking about this. You did want to say something. You said pizza, you said burgers, and you said orange chicken. Okay, there is no way that those are home cooked meals. And
No, it wasn't home cooked meals though. I don't know why you died. I just said meals.
Yeah, you said that.
I said favorite meals is what I said, and you can listen back to it. It wasn't home cooked meals. It was just meals, and burgers are home cooked meals. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, I just said favorite meals.
All right. So for this one, I guess I think
I replaced orange chicken with chicken wings, by the way.
I'm going with Quay Walker, the Packer. I'm going with him at linebacker.
Wow. Caught me off guard with that one. That's not I
Was that your next pick?
No, that's not where I was going with linebacker. Devin Lloyd is playing like at an all-pro level. Like Devin Lloyd might be a Pro Bowler like this year. How well I would change it to Devin Lloyd. Like I'm giving you.
Okay, I'll change it to Devin Lloyd then. But and it's only because I haven't seen much of him, but I've seen a lot of Quay Walker. So
yeah, no, Devin Lloyd is looking like he might be like a Pro Bowl player. Like I don't want to say all pro just yet, but Devin Lloyd looked like he's by far the best like linebacker in this class.
I appreciate you giving me the second chance. I know that you're very knowledgeable on the topic, so you would probably demolish me without it. So I appreciate it. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, let's see. Devin Lloyd he's good. He has 2 interceptions, 33 solo tackles. Let's see what his combined tackles look like. 33 solo tackles and then another 35 assisted tackles. The dude has been on a fire.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think the next clear one here is Hutch. I think Hutch has been the best defensive end out of this class. Walker kind of looks like and the reason I put this here because it's still allows us to talk. It's a fun way for us. It goes good in the Gridiron Goose, but this allows us to talk about the rookie class that we haven't done much talking about. So that's why I like this idea for Gridiron Goose. But Hutch, I think, has been the clear defensive end out of this class. I think Trayvon Walker has looked good, but it's the same thing that I said going into the season. The dude flashes, and when he flashes, he flashes. Yeah. But outside of that, he's been meh. So Hutch, give me Hutch.
I am gonna take this guy because I don't know why we haven't, but I'm going with Breece Hall at my running back spot because when he was healthy, he's fantastic.
He's awesome, yeah.
So
the only reason I didn't do Breece Hall was because there's two other really good running backs in that position.
You have options for sure, but he's for sure the number one.
Oh yeah,
out of
by far the number one. Yeah.
But no, I'd say it's close between him and Dameon Pierce. But
Dameon Pierce has been killing it, dude.
There's still a separation there, and I think Breece Hall takes it. So
yeah, I think Dameon Pierce is actually leading the league in like broken tackles, which is crazy. So,
all right, so what's your next pick?
I don't think there's any longer a mismatch here in the position. He's just looked better than the other rookie quarterback has played. So give me Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi?
I know Kenny Pickett has played, but Kenny Pickett hasn't looked very well when played. And Bailey, when he stepped in, he's looked like Bailey's looked the best out of any of these quarterbacks. That's why I went with Bailey.
Fair. All right.
Oh, I think I know where I'm going next with this.
Okay. I want to check one thing really quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think I saw it. Would you count Icky as a guard?
No, Icky's only played tackle this year.
Because he pops up as a okay.
Yeah, on the list, that's what he pops up as because people didn't know going into the the year if he was going to play guard or tackle because for some reason people didn't think he could play tackle, which is just awful. But the dude has I don't think he's played a single snap at guard this year.
I'm gonna go with Zion Johnson then at guard.
Yeah, I think that was another mismatch. The dude has been awesome. I don't think the dude is allowed to sack all year. The dude, locked down Chris Jones in that week 1 matchup.
Yeah.
Dude looked good, man. And we're not going to let this slip out ahead of me before it can get too far. Because I think there are 3 clear guys in this category. And then outside of that, it tapers off a little bit. Give me Chris Olave. I think he's by far and away been the best rookie wide receiver. Dude might even... Right now, I don't have the vote. I think he would be my offensive rookie of the year pick.
I'm going with George Pickens then, just because I don't want you to have both George Pickens and Chris Olave on your team.
I'm actually going to stick with the Ohio State boys here, which hurts me a little bit. But I think Garrett Wilson has shown that he's clearly the number 1 wide receiver option in this league. Or on this team, he's already surpassed Elijah Moore. He surpassed Corey Davis. Denzel Mims hasn't done much, but he's jumped Denzel Mims again. I think hurts a little bit, but I think I really think these Ohio State boys have been two of the best rookie wide receivers, or 2 of the top 3 rookie wide receivers.
Yeah. Now at this point of the draft, we're filling in spots that the other person has already drafted, so it's not necessarily a competition. It is because we're comparing drafts, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick Cam Jurgens for my center. And the reason why is because he's sitting behind one of the greatest, if not the greatest, center in the league. In Jason Kelce, and he's done phenomenal. So Cam Jurgens for sure.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just at the point of just getting players now. We're gonna do Rodrigo, Malcolm Rodriguez. The dude has been pretty good this year. People have been clamoring, oh, maybe he's better than Devin Lloyd. That's just not true. That's just factually incorrect. You're wrong if you think that. But Malcolm Rodriguez has been, I mean, to me, one of the biggest surprises of the draft. I think the dude went in, let's see, I'm pretty sure he went in the 5th round. Maybe it was the 6th. But the dude has absolutely outperformed. Yeah, the 6th. The dude has absolutely outperformed his draft position. I mean, he looks like he's a starting level linebacker in the league. There's not many linebackers in this draft class that you can say the same. So Malcolm Rodriguez.
All right. I'm gonna go with oh geez. Let's see. I think
There's what, 4 more picks left?
1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5, but you have 4, yeah.
Okay.
That's not terrible, but I mean, let's see. Hold on a minute. You already took Greg Dulcich. You suck.
I think that was the other big mismatch. I mean, I guess to help you out here, Isaiah Likely is probably the next option there, just because he's the only other tight end who has done anything.
No, I'm going with Jelani Woods. He's done some pretty solid stuff quietly.
All right, so I hate to break it to you here. Outside of that one game performance, where he caught 2 touchdowns, but I think he only had like 7 yards. He hasn't he's been actually like a healthy scratch. He hasn't even played very much on that team.
6 catches, 3 touchdowns. When he's on the field, he's been a pretty positive player. I don't know why they're not doing it, but it's fine.
Yeah, they need to. I mean, yeah, they need to use him more, I think.
Yeah.
So, it's about time. Give me Icky. Icky's been, in my opinion, I think Icky's been the best tackle. Again, he's been an absolute road grader in the run game. That's exactly what we thought. But his question coming into the year was, can he pass block? And he has not let up a single sack outside of week 2. Dude has been on a tear. Dude has been like a bookend tackle. I mean, he looks like he can be an elite tackle for the next 15 years in this league. He looks like he's going to be one of the best to do it. So
you have 1, 2, 3, 4 picks after that one, actually. You have 2 corner spots.
2 corners and a guard.
2 corners, a guard, and a running back.
Oh, and a running back. Ha ha.
Sure. I still have to draft majority of my defense, but I'm going to go ahead and pick quarterback next, just to give a little analysis. It's a toss-up between Desmond Ridder and Malik Willis. I'm not at all Desmond Ridder. And that's the thing. I like his skill set, and I think that he can do very well. In fact, they've already talked about potentially letting him step in for Marcus Mariota. And Mariota hasn't performed all that horrible, except just it's middle of the pack. I'd like to see what he can do before the end of the season, and I think that he can take the starting role pretty easily. I
think it has to be Kenny Pickett. In terms of the exercise, I think it should be Kenny Pickett because they literally haven't played this year. I mean, maybe you can say Malik Willis, but like this is how they've performed thus far throughout the season, and you're picking a dude who hasn't played.
I also picked Cam Jurgens as well.
So hey, Cam Jurgens has played 4 snaps. None of the other players have played.
I don't know why your camera's a little behind, but it's fine. It's okay. Yeah, you're just now talking about Cam Jurgens on the camera. It's fine. No worries. I can hear you. It's okay. There we go.
Hey.
Oh. Yeah, it's still kind of the audio is delayed with the video, but I can see what you're saying. Anyways, so let's see. Who did you pick? I think it's
It is. Again, given I came prepared for this, but I do think I'm blowing your team out of the water.
Yeah, and it's I need another wide receiver, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a clear, like when I said top 3, I'm going to be honest, George Pickens wasn't even on that list.
He's pretty solid.
There's another wide receiver here. Like I think there's been 4 that have looked good. I do think George Pickens has looked, again, in terms of just how they've looked this season, I think George Pickens is actually 4th on the wide receiver list. If you just look at the stats and how well they've played. But anyways, we'll go with Kenyon Green, the guard out of Texas A&M, but he plays for the Texans. I think he was a clear number 2 option besides Zion. There's not much to talk about here. He's looked good. I mean, there's not much to he hasn't let up sacks, I guess. I mean, that's what you have to talk about with offensive line. I think he's only given up 2 sacks through 7 games. So good on you, Kenyon Green.
Next up, I guess I should start on defense. That's kind of important. I guess Kayvon Thibodeau is the guy. I mean, when he's healthy, he's been pretty solid. Either him or Jermaine Johnson.
Really, I think it's Walker, because I think Walker's actually second in sacks this year. I don't know how much Jermaine Johnson has played, and just in terms of like Kayvon Thibodeau, it's just a matter of like healthy. He's been in and out. He hasn't played much. So,
all right. Who you got for your corners and your running back?
I think the clear number 2. See, this is tough. I think Woolen and Stingley are tied, because I think Stingley has been your breakfast cornerback. For those who don't know, he's just been locked down. Stingley hasn't had the takeaways. I think Sauce is clearly the best defensive rookie out of this class. Sauce has been absolutely.
He's been pretty good.
Yes. And the nice thing about Sauce is he's been both. He's been locked down and he's gotten some interceptions. Stingley on the opposite end has been very locked down. He's pretty much shadowed the best wide receiver he's gone against and hasn't really let up a lot of yards. Meanwhile, Woolen is a little bit softer on coverage and has let plays gone past him, but he's been feasting the same way Trayvon Diggs did last year. Dude, I think Woolen's actually leading the league in interceptions this year, which is crazy to say a rookie's doing that. I think the clear option is Derek Stingley.
All right. Let's see. All right. I am going to go ahead and pick my second wide receiver. Just get it over with. Not Christian Watson.
No, come on. The first wide receiver off the board, dude.
I was going to say Drake London has been pretty decent.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson's been all right. Got to give a nod to, Treylon Burks was doing pretty solid before he got hurt.
Dude got hurt.
Alec Pierce has been on the rise.
Yeah.
And I would say pick him up in your leagues. Let's see. Other than that, there hasn't really been a late round steal. And by the way, I called Alec Pierce being a guy that.
Well, I had Alec Pierce on my list as well. I liked Alec Pierce. He's just a height, weight, speed kind of guy. And if you guys have listened to this podcast, big height, weight, speed guy here.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking down the board, I think Drake London's the obvious pick here. But I think if you're looking down the board, I think Romeo Doubs is the next option. But I really think it's just Romeo Doubs, Alex Pierce, and then
Garrett Wilson right here.
And then I already drafted Garrett Wilson.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, no, you're right. Anyways, my bad. I was like, oh, this is a nice pick. I like that pick.
Yeah, no, I have the two Ohio State boys on my team.
I don't know if I want to take a Packer or not. I'm not taking a Packer. I'm taking Drake London.
No, take Drake. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about him too. I was just looking at stats and everything, and I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah. I guess I have 2 picks left. We'll leave the obvious pick here until the end. A pick that I don't know if you know this guy. I don't know how much you follow this team. We're actually going with Patriots rookie cornerback Jack Jones. He's a really interesting story. He's a fun story. He was a 5-star cornerback who played at USC, left USC, went to ASU, and then got kicked off of ASU because I think he broke into a McDonald's, drunkenly broke into a McDonald's. And the dude was like a Tracy guy. He looked very, very good. But he slid down the board because he had the character concerns. He ended up going in the 4th round. But if we're looking at it, I think he is. I really think it's Sauce, Stingley, Woolen, and Jack Jones. I don't know how much you know about Jack Jones, but if you get a chance, man, I would look into him, or even ask Matt or someone who watches follows these guys. Thing or two about him. Jack Jones has been very, very, very good for this team. Obviously, he's no Stephon Gilmore, but he looks like he might be the next coming of Stephon Gilmore on his side, man.
Solid. Go ahead and pick your running back. I'm still doing
I wonder
some
who I'm gonna pick here. Yeah,
do
give me
analysis too.
give me Dameon Pierce. It was actually tough deciding between Kenny Walker and Dameon Pierce because Kenny Walker didn't get a lot of touches until Rashad Penny went down. And Kenny Walker's done amazing with these touches, but again, just for the sake of the exercise, we're going with Dameon Pierce because his resume through the entire 8 weeks thus far has been the best. Dameon Pierce is outside of those first 2 weeks has been the clear lead back there. He looks like he might be number 2 in offensive rookie of the year voting behind Chris Olave. Again, obviously it was Breece Hall, and that's why you went with Breece Hall because again, we were doing what they've done thus far, and Breece Hall was a clear runaway favorite with that award. But Dameon Pierce is, right behind him. Dameon Pierce has looked very, very well for this Texans team. He's pretty much been the only bright spot for that team. So
I will pick my final 2 guys. It's Devontae Wyatt for the defensive tackle spot, and then Lewis Cine for the safety spot, who has been, both guys pretty solid.
Here, hold on. I don't know if Lewis Cine is he off the IR now? Yeah, I know he was on the Lewis Cine walking without assistance 4-week. Yeah, dude hasn't played. I think he got hurt in the second game. He's been on IR.
He was playing though.
Dax Hill,
very good.
No, I don't know how you didn't go with Kyle Hamilton.
I almost did, but he doesn't have any interceptions, bro. Lewis Cine had 2.
I don't think I think interceptions, and I think we talked about this with the Trayvon Diggs thing, is the most wildly overrated stat in the NFL. I understand turnovers are obviously super, super important in terms of talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Kyle Hamilton's been the clear second best safety in this class, especially with Lewis Cine. Pretty much been on IR, for the whole season outside of the first 2 weeks.
Pretty much. Anyway, so that's going to bring conclusion to this episode. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for listening all the way through. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Pigskin Project, and we have a lot scheduled for next week's show, as we always do. So make sure that you're subscribed and following us on all platforms. We'd like to give a big thank you to Anchor.fm, Uppercuts Grooming, Regional Radio Sports Network, and Overtime Sports Network for helping us promote our podcast. Please leave a review down below as it helps us more than you know, and that's it for this week. So thanks again for tuning into the Pigskin